Hi-Res audio, lossless audio, Kirtan Fi. What are you talking about? Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is your Das Charandeep Singh and welcome to Kirtan Fi. Firstly, there's lots to talk about, and to help you navigate, you'll find timestamps in the video progress bar and in the description below. So what is Kirtan Fi? Kirtan Fi is aimed as a premium experience of audio fidelity. In fact, it's in the name, Kirtan Fidelity or Fi, like the use in the common word high fidelity or hi-fi. The sole purpose is to provide you, the Sangat, with the best audiophile grade non-commercial live captured Kirtan recordings. This is achieved by recording, mixing, mastering and distribution with high-res in mind along all of these stages. Given this end-to-end process, Kirtan Fi can be described as a record label and distributor which specializes in high-res Gurbani Kirtan. Kirtanphile.com is the world's first and currently only high-res lossless audio Kirtan platform to allow you to find, stream and download full high-res lossless Gurbani Kirtan albums, all for free. No subscriptions, no paywalls, and most of all a growing varied library of Kirtan styles, or what I refer to as Kirtan genres. As an added bonus on the site, there is also a regularly updated library of 4K to 8K high-resolution Sikhi wallpapers available to download with one click, just like this one. These scale across all of your devices, from smartphones to laptops or desktops. Oh, and there's one more thing. There's also another side to the Kirtan Fi brand called Kirtanphile, which serves as a way to share my own personal audiophile and tech journey with you in more of a traditional YouTube setting, a bit like this. The idea of having separate brands is that it allows the Kirtan specific content to be on Kirtan Fi and the supportive vlog behind the scenes, product reviews and general info content or Q&As and interviews to be on the Kirtanphile channel. These will be synergistic and go hand in hand with the aim to help you get the most out of Kirtan recordings in general from an audio and tech perspective, not just high-res lossless recordings. There will be more content on both channels soon, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when a new video goes live. Okay, so why bother with high-res lossless Kirtan in the first place? To help explain this, I'll use video as an example. Just like we've seen over the last few years, the jump in video quality standards from 240p to 720p and then 1080p and now 4K, and even the next gen 8K. In contrast, looking at the music industry, it's evolving to provide a higher quality experience to music lovers across the globe. Within the last 2 years, you may have heard of music streaming services which have or are in the process of launching high-D streaming or high-res or lossless quality as part of their subscription packages. Companies such as Apple, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon, just to name a few. So if worldly music lovers can experience higher quality audio, then why would we not utilize this technology for the advancement of our Gurbani digital media? The gap which Kirtan Fi fills is one of this audio quality by being high-res, but also as a byproduct of releasing lossless quality, preservation of what has been recorded for future generations to come. At some point in the near future, the terms lossless audio and high-res audio will be the new norm. Alright. So what exactly is high-res audio? The term high-res audio refers to music file types that have a higher sampling frequency and bit depth than CD quality. Basically, there's more digital data, meaning that there's more information in that file. High-res audio is specified at 24-bit 96 kHz or higher. If this sounds confusing, pun intended, then there will be a future video on the Kirtanphile channel to discuss this topic in more depth. Okay, so what is lossless and lossy? Look, we've all listened to MP3s and watched videos online and heard what's to offer. But did you know that MP3s are actually in a compressed format so that the media can be delivered to you in the smallest data sizes, for obvious reasons? So, from the point at which the recording was saved as an MP3 or used in a video to then upload to YouTube, the audio would have been digitally compressed and manipulated multiple times throughout that process, thus data lost, and therefore the term lossy. In contrast, if we record in a lossless format and then process these afterwards in a way which we don't lose any data from the original recording via digital compression, then this is lossless. Where you have lossy file types such as MP3s or video files, a lossless file type can be FLAC or free lossless audio codec, which has been an open standard and well supported by modern devices to playback for many years now. Personally, I rarely listen to worldly music anymore. However, before starting this venture, I did have a sample of a FLAC and an MP3 version of a song that I was familiar with from my past. I was amazed by the clarity and openness and the ability to hear things that I'd never heard before in the recording that I just hadn't noticed. This actually inspired me to try recording Kirtan in high-res to see if we could apply the benefits of lossless quality and how it scales across a budget listening setup all the way to an audiophile grade setup, like moving from these to these. Well, it did, and the rest is history. So remember, MP3 or videos are lossy and FLAC is lossless. So anything lossless is therefore high-res, right? No, the terms high-res and lossless are not one and the same. Audio can be lossless but not high-res, or can be lossless and high-res. So a quick recap. High-res audio generally refers to the sample rate and bit rate of a recording, and lossless refers to the lack of compression of that data. So you're probably thinking, why don't more content creators or studios use FLAC for audio purposes? Well, if we compare the same high-res recording which is published as a FLAC and an MP3, generally the FLAC will be around 4 to 5 times bigger in file size. Thus historically, streaming large file sizes was a bigger challenge. However, in today's digitally connected society, this is changing and most record labels in the music industry have moved over to publishing in lossless CD quality and some even in full high-res lossless, like those brands which we mentioned earlier. Wait, can't you just get an MP3 and save it again as a FLAC? No. Compression is irreversible. If the data is not there in a lossy MP3, then it won't be there when resaved as a lossless FLAC. Unfortunately, that means any existing MP3s will remain as they are forever. You cannot create more data if it doesn't exist. But does the existing data even exist if I don't exist? Okay, great. Let's go buy a digital recorder and start recording Kirtan. Definitely do it. But there is also another factor here at play. It's not just a simple case of putting down some mics and then saving it as a FLAC and sharing it. In order to have high-res lossless Kirtan, it needs to be recorded in high-res quality or higher, obviously, and then processed in a way which retains the data quality which was captured. This is where you have to apply a studio mentality to the process. Typically, the best recording of Kirtan you'll find in terms of clarity and overall mix and experience will be that which is recorded in a dedicated studio space with tightly controlled acoustic properties and room treatments with professionals such as audio or mix engineers and producers using specific equipment and techniques to get the most out of the recording. For Kirtan Fi, it's about bringing the studio to the Sangat to capture that live vibe. In studios, each vocalist and instrument is captured separately to then mix together for a final track. This is known as a multi-track recording. We can't replicate the level of sound isolation in a live environment, however we can record vocalist, instrument and ambience separately in high-res quality to help capture the atmosphere as best as possible. Any recording captured by Kirtan Fi always uses its own specific mics and tailor-made custom setups to do this. Of course, in a live Kirtan Samagam, we can't control a multitude of elements, not just sound isolation, such as darbar size, echo, speaker system and placement throughout the darbar, loudness of that PA system, Kirtani and Sangat positions, and unexpected background noises such as fans or AC units, or kids crying, or the occasional sneeze. The benefits of doing this is that the overall end product is much more lively, rich in detail, and aims to almost relive that moment as if you were there every time. Wait, I know what you're thinking. Well, actually I don't because I'm not a Brahmgyani, but Gurdwara sahibs normally have lots of mics and complex systems to sort audio for darbar speaker systems. Why don't you just use that? Yeah, that's a really good point actually. You could do, however in my experience it depends on the kit that the Gurdwara Sahib uses. To get the best positioning and to avoid issues that can occur later such as electrical interference, buzzing noises on the mic lines, lack of pop filters on microphones, lack of support for multiple outputs from a PA system, etc. It's easier and safer just to use own equipment, and that way you also don't interfere with the systems in the Gurdwara Sahib. And you know, you don't get that look from the Gyaniji when you break it. Because I totally haven't done that before. Believe me, a track with static noises or hums may be muted and barely audible on an MP3, but when dealing with high-res audio and lossless data, it will be very intrusive to the listening experience if not dealt with. Editing these issues out afterwards often has an impact on the overall mix of the track, which is definitely undesirable. So, distribution. Okay, so all of this is done and we have shiny final tracks in an album ready for the Sangat to hear. That's where we have another barrier. There's really no current way to distribute high-res lossless audio from a streaming, let alone downloading perspective for free. All of those companies with services that I mentioned earlier require record labels to go through third-party distributors to upload content on those platforms. And of course, they also charge the consumer to access that service. But that music is streaming only, there's no way to actually download it for your own personal use. So in order to get around this, Kirtanphile.com was created to be that platform which not only can stream high-res Kirtan, but also allows Sangat to download entire albums with just one click for personal use. Commercial use of Kirtanphile albums or tracks is strictly prohibited and protect the Sangat and collaborating partners, and anyone making money off Kirtanphile published audio will be given a top. But no, seriously, just don't. There's quite a few ways in which Kirtanphile is aiming to be different. One of which is how the file metadata is handled. If you're an avid downloader of Kirtan tracks online for personal use in audio players and other devices, you would definitely have come across the inconsistencies of how the files themselves are labeled, and what appears in the artist name or album name may not actually be representative of the actual file. This information is normally kept in the file's metadata tags. All Kirtan Fi tracks are fully tagged to allow you to download the FLACs and drop them into any audio player and have the metadata read correctly. This helps of course visually, but also if you're searching for a specific shabad, having properly tagged titles will help you find what you're looking for. So full custom album artwork, album name, album number, collaboration details, Kirtani names, mix type, track number, total number of tracks in an album, and of course the shabad titles will all be present. An added bonus is that metadata for audio also normally has a tag specifically for music lyrics. So the entire shabad text will also be tagged into the track using this lyrics tag, so if you have an app or player which can show the lyrics, then it will work for you. This means you don't need to go searching for the shabad on SikhiToTheMax, for example, as it will already be baked into the track itself, which is what Kirtan Fi uses for all shabad tracks. There will be a future video on the Kirtanphile channel to show you this working and how you can create your very own personal private Kirtan streaming service for free and will allow you to access your Kirtan collection anywhere in the world. Oh yeah. Quick mention on Collabs. Kirtan Fi is a team player and absolutely thrives by collaborations with other non-commercial studios or content creators in the YouTube or SoundCloud space. At the time of shooting this video, Kirtan Fi has been blessed to have collaborated or is in progress with collaboration with these brands. But Jarandeep, can you really tell the difference between an MP3 and a FLAC? Yes, you can. More data means more detail, but perceiving this difference can be due to many different factors, such as your device not actually outputting full high-res audio in the first place. In essence, it depends on what device you're playing the file from, for example, an iOS or Android device or computer, and how you're getting that audio into your ears, for example, by speakers or earphones or headphones, and the relative capability of those devices. It can get a little bit complicated, but there's lots to demystify, and we'll talk about that over on the Kirtanphile channel in more detail soon to help you get the most out of your equipment or where you can upgrade. By the way, you don't need multiple hundreds of pounds or dollars to experience high-res audio, so don't worry. Fun fact, a recent Instagram poll at Kirtanphile showed that 60% of listeners did in fact perceive a difference in quality between Kirtanphile lossless FLACs versus the same lossy content published on the Kirtanphile YouTube channel or SoundCloud. Well, my job here is done. See ya. Okay, seriously though, for those who don't perceive a difference of lossless versus lossy quality or prefer to keep data usage as low as possible, you can still benefit from the Kirtanphile album releases on Kirtanphile SoundCloud or YouTube channel, which will deliver content in a lossy format as we covered earlier. All albums will be released on those platforms so you won't miss out. Also, don't forget you can still use Kirtanphile.com as a resource for your high-resolution Sikhi wallpapers. Please note, although Kirtanphile YouTube videos will contain this icon, it's there only to help market the brand to get the word out that Kirtanphile specializes in high-res audio content. This is not meant to mean that the videos themselves are in high-res audio quality. Rather, each video will always state to go to Kirtanphile.com to get the high-res version. The relevant links are always in the video descriptions. No confusion or misleading of information is intended. Okay, so in summary, Kirtan Fi is all about bringing audio file quality Kirtan recordings to the Sangat by recording, mixing, collaborating and distributing high-res lossless Kirtan and making it freely accessible. Lastly, just to say that Kirtan Fi, although aspiring to be a free record label for high-res Gurbani Kirtan, still has so much to learn and refine in not only the recording, the mixing and the mastering processes. This actually in the real world is a job for an audio engineer, mix engineer, producer, distributor, and by no means anything which I may have said can be to any disregard of this. Content creation is really hard work. Kirtan Fi holds absolute respect for those studios out there that provide free seva to distribute Gurbani Kirtan or Sikhi content to the world through their own brands and websites and YouTube channels and live stream services. And by no means does Kirtan Fi mean any disrespect to their quality of work. In fact, would love to work with you to even better the content for generations to come. Your Das is a novice beginner and Gurbani Kirtan skills will improve to help bring the Sangat even better, more innovative Kirtan albums for free in the future. If you want to find out first about new upcoming albums or wallpaper releases, follow at Kirtan Fi on Instagram or via the Kirtan Fi Updates WhatsApp group. You can find the links in the description below. And on that note, don't forget to subscribe if not already to the Kirtan Fi but also to the Kirtanphile channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when a new video is released. The next video on the Kirtanphile channel will explain how I personally got into this and also what high-res audio actually is in more detail. Don't miss out on that. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share with anyone who may appreciate it. And definitely don't leave without engaging with me in the comments below. Tell me your experience of Kirtan recordings in general. What do you use to listen to Kirtan? Do you use those streaming services that we discussed earlier? Or what do you think of Kirtanphile albums? Your discussion and feedback is highly appreciated. Thanks for your time, and until next time, keep that Kirtan playing. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.